Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hello. Today, as you can tell by the thumbnail, what am I talking about? We're going to be watching a video called The Strongest Tornado of All Times, 1999. Bridge Creek Muir F5. You guys told me to do this. You guys emailed me about this to the people who did. Thank you. If you want to send me anything, don't, because people sign me up to some dating website and it's kind of weird. You can, by the email, send me stuff. Send me links to videos that you think that could be cool to watch and do a video on. I'm going to be doing a live stream over on Twitch tomorrow. It's going to be a subathon, screamathon, whatever you want to call it. And I'd love if you guys could come by and say hello. There's a link in the pinned comment. But either way, make sure you like, make sure you sub, and let's spin into this one. Get it? Spin because it's a tornado instead of jump, because who jumps into a video? I don't know who spins into a video, but we are today. Let's watch the video. Right. Muir, Oklahoma, May 3, 1999. Oh, I ain't gonna lie, I love the aesthetic of VHS, bro. Yo, what?
To your safe spot if you possibly can. That's an F. Look at the horizontal.
Holy shit.
To an F5 tornado. That's winds of 250 miles an hour.
Bro, look at the size of that. Holy.
Alright, we're asking our crew right now to shut down.
You know how you know it's big? You can't even see nothing. When you can't see shit, you're about to be turned to shit. Strongest tornado of all time, Bridge Creek Muir, 1999. God damn. It's a sunny day. It's how it always begins, right?
The morning
bros?
of May 3rd, 1999 started out like any other spring
The
morning.
birds are singing
in
their favorite
Oklahoma.
songs.
Temperatures were in the mid-60s and a thin layer of clouds hung overhead. The air was extremely humid, with dew points similarly in the low to mid-60s. Forecasters that morning were in general consensus that severe weather was indeed likely across much.
So, if I'm right, the way they kind of like track or predict that these are going to happen is it like cool air mixing with warm air or something like that? I can't remember.
Of Oklahoma,
Let me know.
Kansas, and Texas, but there was uncertainty regarding more specific details. This led forecasters at the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma, to issue a slight risk for much of the region. As the hours progressed, confidence rose as the possibility of a significant severe weather outbreak became more and more probable. Ahead of the dry line, the cloud cover that had protected much of Oklahoma from the sun's rays began to disperse,
Little did they
leaving
know.
blue skies in its wake. This allowed for extensive destabilization of the area as peak daytime heating began. By afternoon, this, combined with the ample moisture and strong directional shear present, made the atmosphere prime for explosive supercellular development.
Well, there we go. Why don't they name tornadoes like Billy? You know they name hurricanes and shit. Why can't they name tornadoes? EF5, Billy's on his way, or Mike. It just doesn't sound as serious, I suppose, does it? If you have like just instead of calling a tornado, you could just call it Mike. And he's just passing through, bro. He's probably gonna wreck the place, but he's passing through. See you later, Mike.
Safe spot.
Confidence rose as the possibility of skies in its wake. This allowed for extensive destabilization of the area as peak daytime heating began.
Yeah, there we
By
go.
afternoon, this, combined with the ample moisture and strong directional shear present, made the atmosphere prime for explosive supercellular development.
Moisture.
With the threat growing, the SBC elected to up the risk level to the highest possible level.
Oh,
a
shit.
high risk, as more
this
and
point,
more
you get
data
the fuck
began
out,
to
right?
flow in, suggesting that something major was about to occur. And between 3 and 4 p.m., the first areas of agitated cumulus clouds began to
I suppose you couldn't really get out though. Like how long before the tornado hits is this warning? Because that's an entire whole ass state right there in it. That's Colorado, if I'm correct. And then you got yeah, it's Colorado in it. No?
develop and
It's
mature
probably not even a
into
state.
full-blown supercells in southwestern Oklahoma.
I don't know.
It only took a matter of minutes for these cells to become severe, as hail up to a quarter size was soon reported in the city of Lawton. It wasn't long after that the storms became tornadic,
here we go.
with the first tornado warning being issued at 4:47 p.m. for portions of Caddo, Comanche, and Grady counties. 4 minutes later, the first tornado report of the day was submitted to the National Weather Service office in Norman.
Mate, that literally looks like it's just going for a walk. That tornado just looks like it's out for a walk. Oh my.
By 5 p.m., it was clear a significant tornado outbreak was underway. NWS Norman issued a short weather forecast around this time, highlighting the high possibility that some of these storms may threaten the Oklahoma City metro area within the coming hours, warning residents of the chance for strong tornadoes.
Right, so you got a couple of hours to get out. Surely that's what they come on the TV station and the news report. This just in. Tornado is on the way. Big one. Get out. Quick. Get in your car. You got a couple of hours. Go. Do people evacuate for tornado warnings? Why? I don't think I've heard anybody talking about that.
With this information, the residents of OKC and surrounding communities began to hunker down. But nothing they could do would prepare them for the horror they would witness that
Jesus
evening.
Christ. I don't know what it is, but this kind of aesthetic vibe is just bringing me back, man. Are we all in agreement that this VHS-y type shit was just, it was the dog's balls, right? It was so cool. Loved it. At the time, you're like, Jesus, I wish we could, you know, have a better picture on the TV. But like thinking back, pretty cool. It was real, right? It was real.
The funnel at ground level is now growing. It looks like it's a little bit wider than it was a while ago. Oh, this is one beautiful tornado. It keeps throwing up all kinds of debris through the air. It's moving, it looks like it's moving north-northeast. Almost pretty much north-northeast. I mean, it's not, maybe even due north, I don't know.
One supercell in particular would stand out from those surrounding it. This storm would quickly begin producing intense tornadoes, spawning 2 F3s near the communities of Cyril and Cement in Caddo and Grady counties. One of these tornadoes would severely damage the Chickasha Municipal Airport, nearly destroying a pair of hangars. This tornado would soon lift, but that supercell would simply not waver. As it recycled, rotation would gradually intensify until shortly after 6 p.m. it produced another tornado.
Jesus.
This tornado would quickly prove to be much more formidable than its predecessors. It would quickly attain violent status as F4 damage would soon be documented east-northeast of the town of Amber. The twister would also rapidly grow in size, growing to be as large as 1 mile wide as it approached the small community of Bridge Creek.
Can we all come to the conclusion of what we should call... I know it never got a name, but let's call it a name. What should we call the strongest tornado? I think we should call it Timmy, or Terrence. I think we go with Terrence. Terrence, pretty decent name. What do you guys think? Let me know down below what you call this tornado.
As the tornado moved into Bridge Creek, it would also reach peak intensity. Dozens of homes were flattened and swept clean off of their foundations. Surveyors know that the debris from these homes was granulated into small, fine particles.
Jesus, look at that, man.
Trees and shrubs were completely debarked in many cases, and the ground was scoured, leaving
That looks like it was on fire.
Scar. As the tornado was passing through Bridge Creek, a nearby Doppler radar on wheels picked up wind speeds of 301 miles per hour within the tornado, the highest wind speeds ever recorded on planet Earth. However, the worst was still to come. As the tornado continued to move to the northeast, it approached the Oklahoma City and more metropolitan
300 miles per hour!
Hundreds of thousands of people were in the path of the tornado.
Western side of Newcastle right now. You folks in Tuttle proper.
At what point do you panic?
Let's be quiet for just a second. We'll see if we can hear that sound.
You can hear the roar. You can hear the tornado from 89th Street. Please, we plead with you. You absolutely have got to get down. Get to the lowest level you possibly can. We plead with you. Do not take the extra minute or two. We plead with you.
Get out.
To get below ground.
No, get in the car and go. Get out of there, bro. If you have one. The destruction. Oh God, this is gonna be bad, isn't it? This is gonna be bad. What is that? That would absolutely terrify me.
As the tornado exited Bridge Creek, it would slightly weaken for a short period of time before attaining F5 status once again near the Grady-McLean County line, where another well-built home would be wiped from existence. It was around this time that the tornado became heavily rain-wrapped, making it difficult to see for those in its path. For many, their only eyes on the dangerous tornado came from their televisions, where meteorologists, including Gary England, relayed radar observations to the public.
Gary, tell us.
Helicopter pilot Jim Gardner was also key to saving many lives during the event, as he closely followed the tornado during its reign of terror from the sky, documenting nearly every stage of its life. Shortly before 7 p.m. as the twister entered Newcastle, the National Weather Service office in Norman elected to issue the first ever tornado emergency, as it became ever clearer that a violent tornado was moving into some of Oklahoma's most populous areas. As the clock struck 7, the tornado would cross Interstate 44 in Newcastle. Many terrified motorists with few choices chose to shelter under highway overpasses as the tornado bared down on them. A decision that would cost one woman her life.
Couldn't they have just
It was
kept
also
driving?
around this time that a brief satellite tornado would form alongside the main twister, producing only F0 damage. At this time, officials at the Storm Prediction Center and the National Weather Service office in Norman began to enter emergency
That better not be people. Is this people?
protocols. The tornado passed just mere miles away from them, leading to responsibility to issue warnings and statements regarding the ongoing outbreak being temporarily handed over to officials at the National Weather Service office in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and meteorologists at Offutt Air Force Base in Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh my God.
The tornado would undergo a short period of extensive weakening as it moved into extreme southern Oklahoma City. Only F2 damage would be documented in this area, but after only a few minutes, the tornado would become violent once again.
He's just not going away.
Indeed, as the tornado entered the city of Moore, it would attain F5 status for the third time. Hundreds of people would be injured and 17 people would be killed as the tornado flattened subdivision after subdivision in the suburban town, wiping out communities in seconds. In one of these subdivisions, a plane wing believed to have possibly been from the Chickasha Municipal Airport, which, as you may remember, was hit by one of the tornadoes prior to the Bridge Creek Moore F5, was found amidst the rubble. Around this point, spectators in downtown Oklahoma City who were attending games played by the minor league Oklahoma Redhawks and Oklahoma City Blazers were evacuated from their seats and taken to underground storage areas and emergency shelters at Chickasaw, Bricktown Ballpark, and the Ford Center, respectively. Flights at Will Rogers National Airport were also grounded, and an honors ceremony at Westmore High School paused. Over 400 people attending the ceremony were taken to shelters just minutes before the tornado struck the school. Thankfully, due to ample warning time, everyone in attendance survived.
That's the devil.
As the tornado re-entered Oklahoma City, it would begin to weaken, albeit slightly.
Holy, hold on, let me see that. Bro, look at this
due to ample
angle.
warning time, everyone in attendance
Was
survived.
that a town? It
As
was
the
over...
tornado re-entered Oklahoma City,
Is this a town? That is the sent from the devil. That is sent from the devil.
it would begin to weaken, albeit slightly. Continued F4 damage would be documented as the tornado damaged several buildings at Tinker Air Force Base. The twister would then proceed into Dell City and Midwest City, where several factories and commercial structures would be destroyed. One sector of damage near Rose State College in Midwest City was considered for F5 classification, though it was ultimately rated high-end F4. The tornado would then rapidly weaken, before finally lifting to the east of Oklahoma City.
The recovery. How long would it take? I hope he tells me how much damage there was done.
As the tornado ascended into the sky, it took the lives of 36 people with it.
Bro,
An
that's so
estimated
sad,
583 people suffered varying degrees of injuries as a result of the storm. Nearly 10,000 buildings were either damaged or destroyed by the twister, amounting to over $1.2 billion in damage, the first time a tornado had ever caused over $1 billion in damages.
Holy shit.
Several additional people died shortly after the tornado from heart attacks or injuries sustained taking shelter. The twister was the deadliest to strike Oklahoma since 1947 and was at the time the costliest tornado in U.S. history.
America scares
me, bro. It was also
the
last tornado to ever be given an F5
America
rating,
scares me.
The original Fujita scale was retired 8 years later in 2007 in favor of the improved Enhanced Fujita scale, or EF scale, that is still in use today. NWS researchers determined that the death toll could have easily been much higher had the National Weather Service and local news stations not given those in the path such advanced and effective warnings. In the months following the disaster, thousands of volunteers from around the country descended on central Oklahoma to help with the cleanup. It took years for the area to recover, but as the 20th century turned into the 21st, the neighborhoods destroyed by the twister had begun to rebuild. In time, the communities were rebuilt. Memorials were built for the victims, and measures were taken to prevent a similar disaster.
What could there be done, though? Like, he just says measures were taken to prevent a similar disaster. What, like, improving technology that can predict them or something? Like, surely there's not that much you could really do, because if a tornado that big and strong is coming, what can you do? Just get the hell out of the way.
During the 2000s, an over $12 million project was undertaken to construct storm shelters across the Oklahoma City metropolitan area to provide residents with secure in-home shelters to use in the case of future tornadic events. Over 6,000 safe rooms and shelters were constructed as a result of the project. It didn't take long for them to be put into use either, as just 4 years later in 2003, an F4 tornado struck many of the same areas in Moore and adjacent cities.
Oh my god,
10 years after that, many of these shelters would be used once again as another EF5 tornado struck Moore. Neither tornado killed as many as the 1999 tornado, with the former killing nobody, largely in part to these shelters.
Nice. Money getting put to good use. About bloody time.
The 1999 Moore tornado was one of the most violent tornadoes of all time, and will not soon be forgotten by those who experienced it. Certainly, it has a fair argument for the title of the strongest tornado of all time.
Yeah.
Within it, we can learn several valuable lessons. One such lesson that may be overlooked is the fact that overpasses are simply not good options for shelter when it comes to tornadoes.
Yeah, I never really understood why people would take shelter in an overpass. Because it's open on both sides, widely open. There's actually no cover at all, apart from above your head. And if that's the only place to go, of course you're going to go. But, like, can you just get in your car and drive either forward or backward? And, I don't know, maybe it's just too late. I don't know. But surely, if it's that big, you could see it coming. You would be able to either go forward or back. I don't know, man. Maybe I just need to be in the situation to really understand how bad it could be, I suppose, right? If it's the last solution, if it's the only thing you could do, then yes, of course, you would take a shelter under an overpass. But if it's an option, fuck no.
When tornadoes pass over them, enhancing the winds within the tunnel, making
stronger wind under the bridge,
arguably even more dangerous than areas out in the open. Several individuals unfortunately died during the 1999 Moore tornado after taking shelter under overpasses. When out on the highway and you aren't able to access a nearby significant structure, taking shelter in a ditch should be a much better option than sheltering under an overpass. Ditches allow you to get below the winds of the tornado, and keep you away from dangerous flying debris. Though they obviously aren't the safest option for shelter, if you ever find yourself in an emergency situation with a tornado approaching on a highway, the ditch shall be a lot safer than the overpass. Alongside this, the Moore tornado also taught us the importance of early and effective warning.
Yeah.
Many lives were saved by the good work of the National Weather Service and local TV stations.
Brilliant work.
The ample warning time and the use of the innovative methods of warning, including the tornado emergency, likely saved dozens more from perishing. The coverage provided by Gary England, Mike Morgan, and others set the standard for future severe weather broadcasts as well, providing a prime example for other television meteorologists to follow over the preceding decades.
Jesus.
And, finally, the storm also taught us the lesson of community. Even in the face of total obliteration, Moore, Newcastle, Bridge Creek, Oklahoma cities, and surrounding cities came together. They mourned as one, rebuilt as one, and came back together.
Look at that car, bro.
Before. Though battered and bruised, the communities remained steadfast and persevered, becoming role models for other communities across the world coming back from significant natural disasters.
And there we go. That was a great video, bro. Well done. Well bloody done. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that was the strongest tornado of all time. Bridge Creek, 1999. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and you just have yourself a great day. Give her a pat in the back.